Hey, let's go. Hope everyone is well. Welcome to Pugsley's Pit. Welcome back to our valued listeners and those that may be joining us for the first time. And as we always do, we begin each and every show by asking you the question, where else would you rather be than right here? Boom! Right now. Michael, how are you?
I'm great, Sean. What do you mean, how am I? I'm beaming. 162-0. I'm beaming.
The 5-0 Yankees. At least my team's ahead of the Astros in the standings. On that note, welcome. Episode 93 of Pugsley's Pit. No unwritten rules. Welcome back to our show. I am Sean Pugsley Martin. This Philadelphia Mike Nelson, here talking Major League Baseball. You can follow the show on Twitter, Pugsley's Pit. Our handles are included under our very handsome faces you see this evening. Remember to smash the like button, hit the subscribe icon. We're back in the pit today. We're going to go over a few over and under reactions in the first not quite week of the season, 6 days. And the Shohei Ohtani gambling situation. My head is off the pillow. Sorry for last week. It was awful. The unbeaten Yankees, the fantasy sleeper 5-pack, along with our pitch clock launch angle segment. And just for the record, coming to you live, well, recorded, but live as I say this, from Albany, New York, Rebecca Lobo's favorite sound.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. No. Pete, your boy Pete Doherty skewered her.
Yep.
On the X.
She deserved it. I mean, as soon as she said it, I looked at my wife and we're just like, she really just say that?
I heard her say it. I'm like, well, I can see it.
It's not
I wouldn't have said it, but I can see it.
It's not great, but it's not that bad. You shouldn't be mocked. Albany had a tough enough weekend with Kim Mulkey, who just constantly looks like she just drank a gallon of sour milk.
She was hanging out with Jerry Jones and the sweet slamming bourbon.
At least
I got the Sausage King of Texas trying to interrupt our podcast.
I want some of that.
As he wants to send me free chorizo, which I'm not going to not take, but
if we mention Syracuse sausage, that bounds him to free advertising. And
it'd be nice for Syracuse sausage. If they sponsor the show, that'd be nice.
It would. Get on for that. All right.
Stuff is great, but whatever. In any event.
We're what? Today is day 6. The real Major League Baseball season.
Yeah. Today is day 6, and the first weekend leads to the proverbial, and it always happens, right? It always happens, right? The Yankees are going to go 162-0. The Pirates are going to go 162-0. The Astros are going to go 0-162. Ramel Blanco fixed that last night in short order. Marlins are going 0-162. I mean, it's always the start's always the start, right? And depending on what team you follow, has a different reaction, right? So if the Yankees were to have gotten swept by the Astros, X would not exist anymore, formerly known as Twitter. Correct. It wouldn't exist because it would have blown up the internet. And that would have been a disaster. Not any more than it already did on the flip side. But a couple of things that we talked about when we were talking about both of those teams. We'll start with the Astros, right? So they going into last night, they were 7-17 in their last 24 home games. That's unheard of, right? So it's not.
Does that count playoffs?
That counts the playoffs.
Okay.
So 7-17 in their last 24 home games going into last night. I mean, like that, and better on the road than most every team in baseball. So it's hard to figure. That's hard to figure. So sometimes it's not who you play, it's when you play them and where you play them. And I think the Yankees got a break. But the thing I take from the first weekend of the Yankees and then even into last night is that Juan Soto, the difference Juan Soto makes in the swagger of that team, they haven't had a player with that swagger since Ricky Henderson.
Wait, well, hold on.
Ricky's a whole different deal. Ricky's swagger is different than anybody that ever played baseball's swagger. But Soto brings an energy to that team that they've missed. They've been clinical, they've been too business-like, and now he brings a personality to that team that they haven't had.
Is Judge more of just a kind of a corporate guy? He's kind of emotionless and all that stuff. And
I think Judge is just Judge. Like
he's
a
guy.
I'm going to play baseball and I just want to win. He's kind of like Trout, right? Mike Trout's not dissimilar than Judge. Like Judge does some commercials, Trout does less, but they just want to play baseball and win. That's what they want to do. Now, unfortunately for Mike Trout, he picked the wrong place for that to happen. But
yes, clearly.
But the Yankees get off to a great start. That's great. The Pirates are 5-0 for the first time since 1983.
Good for them.
1983, right? The Buccos are back. There might be, maybe people will show up. So, shout out to here you go, Mark Cuban. Buy high.
Yeah, right.
Buy high before they find a way to screw it up.
Go back to Soto for a second. How much pressure is on the Yankees are they even talking now, or they tabled it and he's going to free agency and they'll try? It's
not Boris's style to negotiate during the season. And with a player like Soto,
he better change his style. He just got skewered this winter.
Well, yeah, exactly. Given what happened in the offseason, maybe he changes his thought process a little bit. But typically he likes to run them out and then max them out. Soto's going to get the biggest bag of bags that there is, right? He's going to creep up on Ohtani numbers because of his age, because of his talent, because of what he's accomplished already. He has the second highest OPS in the post-war modern era of baseball behind Barry Bonds. I mean, he's a 420 OPS guy. It's unbelievable. And maybe he doesn't catch every ball that he's supposed to catch, but he's got a great arm in right field. He showed that right off the bat. And he was my favorite player in baseball that wasn't a Yankee before he became a Yankee. And with no disrespect to Aaron Judge, he's my favorite Yankee. He's my favorite player. I love the way he plays. I like the way he carries himself. I like how he plays. I like what he does as a player. So he was a great fit, but man, they are under incredible pressure to sign him.
Yeah. How big is this start, do you think? You're missing Garrett Cole. You don't know what the pitching is going to be like. You are what your record says you are. They're 5-0 and taking the field probably in a matter of half an hour or so.
Yeah.
Is it just a confidence boost? Are they going to have enough to hang in there?
Who knows, right? Who knows, right? Because they're prone. They have hitters that are prone to. They have hitters that are prone to slumps, and the guys that are carrying them right now. Oswaldo Cabrera, Volpe's out of his mind right now. Volpe's playing phenomenal baseball, right, and hitting the ball like crazy. So it's timely hitting. I like that. Verdugo's already contributed, and he's not really hitting yet. They'll get LeMahieu back, but the pitching, they're putting a lot of pressure on the bullpen already. They're putting a lot of pressure on the bullpen. I watched all three Braves Phillies games this weekend. Clay Holmes has 3 saves. I don't even know if Russell Iglesias is ever going to get a save.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to be in games that they need to have a save. They're either going to lose 5-2 or they're going to win 71-1. It's unbelievable how that offense works. So they put a lot of pressure on the bullpen. They're already making moves to call guys up to fill in bullpen spots, and it's the first week. So if they don't get some length out of the rotation, and like Cortez gutted out a win game 1, Rodon gutted out a win. Stroman was really good. So, but if they don't get some length, their bullpen may catch up to them, and if that will then put extra pressure on the offense, and then that's when has recently caused them some challenges.
All right. Here's the other thing that happened in the last week, really, and we didn't get into it too much last week. Well, we didn't get to it at all. We were talking about the National League West, and quite frankly, I wasn't feeling well. So here's what blows my mind about the Shohei thing, and I wanted to wait, give it a few more days to see what happened since he said nothing to the press and all that stuff. What I find interesting is nothing has come out. Nothing. And to be quite frank, this is probably the scandal nobody really wants to see.
No.
Baseball, I don't think baseball fan, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see this. And what I find is he came out, he said what he said, he doubled down. Okay. He got a lot of props in the national media, people saying, hey, we tend to believe him for what he said because he's got advisors got to be telling him, dude, if there's something here, just get it out, right? Cover-up's worse than the crime. But he didn't do that. He doubled down, and either Ipe is thief or a fall guy, I don't know, but there's no smoke right now, and I kind of like that.
It is interesting. That it was 3 days of total blow up.
Yep.
And now it's like nothing ever happened.
Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese knocked them off the pages.
Well, yeah. Well, and well, they should have. And well, they should have. Paige Bruckers and Juju knocked them. I mean, they should have. And good for them. But it was the blow up story when they were in Korea. It was a bunch of conjecture. It was his statement. And now it's been total radio silence.
Yep.
So I live for this stuff, right? I live for this because I live for anything that puts Rob Manfred in a spot where he's going to have to actually do something that is uncomfortable because that's not his ilk, right? That's not what he likes to do. I am inclined, and probably because I want to be, not because I know anything, I'm inclined to believe Shohei only because like those guys, like everybody's like, how could he know he didn't have $4.5 million? Well, it would be easy for him to not know he didn't have $4.5 million because he doesn't control his money.
Yeah.
Right. All his bills get paid.
Yep.
Hey, I need some money for this, and it's there for me. He has an allowance of money that he can spend, and then if he wants to go buy something like a house or something, then that all gets taken care of in a conversation. But like, this is not unusual for guys that make that amount of money who are at a point in time and during their work year, which is exactly where this stuff all happened, to not know what's going on financially with them. And he's not the first player that's been, one of my favorite terms, bamboozled by somebody that was supposed to be handling his money.
Yeah.
I mean, this happens to these guys, sadly, all the time. They don't have the financial acuity to handle that amount of money, so they have to rely on the people that do. And if he was relying on one guy who was supposed to be his friend to handle all that, then it's a problem. I mean, the real truth is going to come out because the FBI is involved in this.
Yeah.
And Manfred can't do a damn thing about it, and baseball can't do a damn thing about it because it's like, I think the thing that they're most concerned about is that if he was gambling through an illegal bookmaker and the same set of rules and the player bylaws and in the CBA that governs, Pete Rose being on every place on the internet saying, I guess all I needed was an interpreter to be able to get away with it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just ridiculous. But the same set of rules that govern that is if you bet through an illegal bookmaker, you're subjected to a 1-year suspension from baseball. And to your point, the last thing that Major League Baseball wants is to suspend the highest paid player in baseball for 1 year.
No, he's a world renowned guy. He's the guy.
He's globalizing the game.
Face of the game, period. Can't have it.
Right. Sells tickets, $700 million, bridges the gap between, great baseball culture in Japan and the United States. He's playing for the Dodgers, of course, which even adds more limelight to the situation. They don't want it, but this is like a frayed wire that's going to keep getting frayed, and hopefully what he said was true, because the lie of the lie is the one that always gets you in trouble, right?
Yep.
That's the one. The lie of the lie, right?
It's not the crime, it's the cover up. It's always
forever.
We're a forgiving society. Whether it makes us saps, that's another question that's debatable. But we're still a forgiving society. That's why it's that.
And honestly, like, given the way that sports betting has crept into or pushed its way or bulled its way or been dragged into or been embraced into professional sports in the United States, I don't think anybody really cares.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody really cares. Everybody's ears were open to hear if it was bet on baseball. And once it wasn't bet on baseball, nobody cares. Like, if he lost $4.5 million gambling on college football, then he clearly is an idiot, right? I mean, he's an idiot. It's probably my lifetime losses, but I mean, it's our combined lifetime losses, probably. But once it's baseball was never bet on, everybody just is like, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, nobody wants a scandal. Again, I don't think fans want this scandal, but we're not far off with the way gambling has proliferated the games. It's crazy. Something's going to happen.
How do you vilify a guy for gambling who didn't break the rules of his sport by gambling on his sport, and the between innings or the in-inning promo is DraftKings? Or the Dodgers brought to you by FanDuel. Like, how do you like?
I don't know how you score that. I don't know how you square it. And look, it is what it is, right? It is. Society's changed. It is what it is, but it's hard to figure that part out.
I just love the point that Manfred's in an uncomfortable position. That's my favorite.
So do I, because he's
he's gonna say something stupid, and because he can't help himself, and
screw him.
Baseball will handle it the wrong way because they can't help themselves, and they'll be if nothing comes out of this and it was 100% true that it was the interpreter that was involved in this, then baseball will be complicit in the cover up. They can't win no matter what happens.
Correct.
And that's all good. It's all good.
All right. Fantasy sleepers.
Yeah.
Fantasy sleepers. I got a couple. I know you got a couple. Who you got? Give me one.
So this kind of goes into overreaction, right? The overreaction of fantasy baseball is, I mean, we live in it. We've been doing it for 35 years now in the same league, and now we're doing both sides, right? So we're doing a rotisserie league and we're doing head-to-head. And there's nobody could pick Ramel Blanco up fast enough last night. Like, there's nobody, it was a race. It was the race to the transaction wire.
I never pick up the guys that throw the no-hitters.
I don't either, not this early. And I don't, and to my own fault, I probably don't cut guys quick enough who I was focused on drafting, right? That's probably like Tristan McKenzie last night, not so good, right? But I'm kind of feel like I'm all in on him, and I'm going to give him until May, and he could kill me. I could be running uphill because of him, or I could be wrong. So if here's I got 5 guys that, and I'll start with Travis d'Arnaud, who was only 41% rostered in CBS Sports and 6% rostered in ESPN. And the reason I say he's a sleeper is that with Sean Murphy out, like, he's a must pick up in that lineup.
I have Murphy on my team, and I picked up d'Arnaud. I mean, it's why not? Murphy, they said it's the best kind of oblique strain, which what the hell does that mean? No oblique screen is good.
I don't have an oblique, so I have no idea.
Yeah, so I know what it is. So yeah, that was my pickup, and it was jumping off the page.
But then the other guy on that team who is sneaky productive is Orlando Arcia.
Yes.
And he's only 27% rostered in CBS. And I don't get I have Dansby Swanson.
Yep.
Now in my Yahoo league, I've had Arcia for now 2 years. And I'm starting to think that I might have the wrong guy. And I love Dansby Swanson, but they're head to head, the important part of head to head is you want players that will get you some kind of points every time they play.
Yep.
And Arcia does that. He doesn't strike out. He plays every day. I don't know what I don't even know who the backup shortstop is in Atlanta.
Well, they made Vaughn Grissom expendable.
Well, he pushed him out last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Grissom was supposed to get that job, and then maybe he'd move to second because Albies was coming back from injury, and he's off to an incredible start. I think he has part ownership of the Phillies because he plays like he owns them. But Arcia's a sneaky pickup, middle infielder pickup if you're in a league that has that, a utility player if you're in a league that has that. I mean, don't sleep on Arcia. Not at all.
I got one for you, and your ears are going to ring because I was cursing you out the other day when you picked up Jared Jones. I was watching his clips, and I'm like, yeah, ad drop. Let's go get him, and he was gone.
I mean, he throws heat. I mean, he's been a little under the radar with the Pirates because that's all Paul Skeens, right? It's all Paul Skeens, who did, by the way,
he was okay.
He was okay through 3 innings in his AAA debut, no hits, 5 strikeouts. He was all right.
When I saw the highlights of both, I was like, wow, what a top end of that rotation. If I'm the Pirates, you don't want to ruin anybody, but Jones is good enough. Skeens is good enough to come up. Get him up. Let's go.
It's the Pirates. The 5-0 Pirates.
Do it.
You put Mitch Keller make Mitch Keller your second starter and Skeens at the top, and Mitch Keller is a better pitcher immediately because they're under pressure of being the ace. Yeah, I like Jared Jones. I think he, if you're not going to pick him up, I'd say put him on a watch list for sure and give him a couple more starts, but be ready, right? If his next start's as dominant as his first start and you don't jump on him, then somebody's going to beat you to him.
All right. Here's another one. Now, do I have his name on? I don't know if I got his. Your boy, the Yankee, Osvaldo Cabrera. His ads he's the most added player on CBS.
I know. He's on fire.
Right now. What's going on with that?
He's on fire. So in our league, he doesn't qualify for third base yet, but in one more game in CBS, when he gets to 5 games, he'll qualify as a third baseman, which is starting to become, with Josh Young and Royce Lewis, my guy, going out, they're starting to become a position in need that needs to be filled. He's playing with confidence. Me personally, I would not pick him up.
Why not?
I think I've seen enough. Of he is what he is, right? He's hot right now, and he could go 7 for 41. I think there's other options. I would probably pick up either Mikhail Garcia from the Royals or Matt Chapman if he was available. Either one of those two guys. Before I did pick up Mikhail Garcia, so I would pick up Mikhail Garcia or Matt Chapman before I pick up Cabrera.
Interesting. All right, give me another one.
The one that blows my mind is, and he's doing a little bit of something that he hasn't done in the past, is Jose Siri from the Rays. Yeah. He's only 29% owned. He's already attempted 4 steals, which is more. He's already on a better pace than last year. He's going to play every single day. Before he got hurt last year, he was kind of like he was a real trendy. He was a very trendy pickup in June, right?
He was on my team last year. 25
and then he got hurt.
But he was
but he was trending for a pretty big season for a guy that nobody knew anything about, right? The Astros kind of cast him away. But he's a good bench stash for right now. But if you need speed, he's a good guy. I mean, if you need steal, he's a good guy to pick up, and he's available in most leagues. I mean, he is 4.6% rostered in ESPN. There's not that much outfield depth.
No, it's not.
Here's the challenge that we're in right in this absolute moment for fantasy. We all read a bunch of stuff in the offseason, right? And we're all guilty of it. This guy's going to break out. This guy's the guy you got to have. This guy's going to be playing every day. This guy's going to be this. This guy's going to be that. And then we forget about guys that just produce on a semi-consistent basis, right? You've got your top 300. They go off the board so quick, and then you win your league in rounds 10 through 15, 16, 20, whatever many rounds you draft, depending on whether you're dynasty or not. And to not take Siri is a mistake. Like, I'm already at the point right now, like, I keep looking at him and wondering if James Outman's the right fit and I should have Jose Siri instead.
Ooh.
I know. And I'm high on him.
Outman about 3 times during the draft, so he won't be on the street long.
No, he'll go right away. And then he'll get dropped, and then he'll go right away, and then he'll get dropped, and he'll go right away and get dropped. And he's going to end up, 25, 75, 20. Yeah. He'll have really good solid numbers, but I don't know if he's any different I don't know if Siri's any different than him.
Yeah, maybe not.
And maybe more steals.
Yeah, and how about a guy, 34 years old, he's playing the best of his career. 6 scoreless innings for the Royals in his debut. Seth Lugo, somebody in San Diego figured it out with him, right? I mean,
yeah,
he's not going to win you a fantasy championship, but if he's your 4th or 5th starter, you could do a lot worse. You could do a lot worse in a thin position.
Yeah, and his whip's not terrible. His ERA is not terrible. He doesn't strike out a ton of guys, but he hangs around long enough to maybe win or maybe lose.
Yeah.
So he doesn't give you, like, he does a good job. And head to head, he's really good, right? Don't walk a lot of guys. San Diego definitely figured him out. Actually, the Mets didn't. The Mets had him in the bullpen. That's where they thought he was best suited. The Padres made him a starter. He settled in. He's shown he can go, 85, 90 pitches. That's probably his limit.
Yep.
But
if you know what he is and you use him accordingly, now he's a solid guy.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep. That's exactly right. I mean, he's like, I'm trying to think of what the comp is for him. Like, everybody's high on McGill now, who's now hurt. Lugo's better than him.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, everybody's high on, Morgan. Lugo's better than him. I mean, because his highs aren't that high and his lows are never that low. So there's not that fluctuation where you're like, I can't believe I started this dude this week.
Yeah.
And he killed me, because you put him in, he doesn't get hurt, right? I mean, he's been, I mean, I'm not, knock on wood. I mean, I don't root for guys to get hurt, especially in fantasy, and especially if you're on my roster, I don't root for him to get hurt. But
I had enough of that this weekend.
Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, the Royce Lewis thing's still pissing me off. Second at bat. You got to be kidding me.
Me, Sean Murphy, Justin Steele, and then Eloy drops like a ton of bricks on his way to first base.
I know. You drafted him. I was just about to take a flyer on him, too.
He was out there. I mean, I got Christopher Morel, who I chose Eloy. I wanted him, and I'm like, no, go with the big name guy.
Christopher Morel with the Little League home run the other night. That was all good.
He got another one tonight. It was last I checked, I was 1 for 10. That was a big one. So, all right, you got one more on the board, I believe, right?
Yeah, I got one more stash. And CBS Sportsline is only 19% rostered. If you got a DL spot and you don't pick up Robbie Ray, you are making a mistake. He's already throwing. He's going to be back in July. Follow him through rehab. Bench him for his first 3 starts if you've got enough wiggle room in your roster to do it, and see if he comes back to Tampa Robbie Ray. And if he comes back to Tampa Robbie Ray and you stashed him on your bench, that could be the difference in August and September in winning your league. He's that good. He's that good. And the fact that, like, I mean, we were talking before we came on in our production meeting that, like, I was just about getting ready to pick him up and I got beat to him by 2 seconds. But I don't know how he's sitting out there when most leagues allow for DL spots. How he's sitting out there at less than 20% owned is beyond me.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense. He's a gamer. He's a veteran. And same thing we said about Blake Snell. He's going to a pitcher's park.
Oh, yeah.
It's a friendly place for them. So,
yeah.
He'll be one of the big names. Scherzer, Kershaw, the midseason veteran rehab tour.
Apparently, Buehler looked really good in his rehab the other night. Verlander looked really good in his rehab the other night. That'll help the Astros tremendously. I mean, these guys are starting to sneak back that were hurt. They were injured coming into the season. And, I mean, Buehler will be, end of May, Buehler and Verlander could be settled into rotations. And if they're sitting out there and you can find a way to stash them, I would stash them both.
Absolutely.
I don't care if Verlander's 71 years old. He still gets guys out.
My text message went off. I was hoping it was Dave Cavill. It was not.
I'm shocked it was. I'm surprised. No. Hey, Sean, just got your voicemail.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going on the clock today. I'll put the 60 seconds up, and I will try to adhere to it. I'm going to try and focus on the positive in the Bay Area and not the negative.
Okay. I'm going to give you 5 and you can jump on 1.
Yeah.
Ready?
So if I ever really want to get into the A's thing, really like get into it and get it all out, I could do a 24-hour live podcast.
Yeah. You get a lot of guests too.
What Rob Manfred is doing, and he's perpetuating just the destruction. He's one of the best proud franchises in baseball history. I'll be honest with you. If it wasn't for my love of baseball, our fantasy league, again, 35 years, and this podcast, I'd be treating MLB like I do the NBA, where I have almost no interest. Right? I'm more of a hockey guy, but that's what it would be. But anyway,
I'm going to give you a quick 5.
Last Thursday, shout out to my athletics brothers and sisters, the fans in the East Bay, for their opening night boycott. Last dive bar in the Oakland 68. They did an incredible job. I was watching live streams of it. When you see inside the cavern of the Coliseum, where the announced crowd of 13,000 that's horse hockey, because that's tickets sold. There wasn't 13,000, and there's maybe half that.
It's a nice Sherman Potter reference right there.
Yes, but the parking lot through all it was packed by all accounts, and good for them, because not giving that thief their money. And the hashtag summer of boycott is on. I feel bad for the players. I think they get it, and it's just a franchise that has no interest in. They're not even hiding it. I mean, it's Esteury Ruiz. Yeah, look, he had trouble getting on base and all that. He hit 429 over the weekend. Pretty much won their game on Sunday, their only win of the year. And they farm him out to the minors to go learn how to get on base. Dude, speed like that, what's your hitting coach doing? He led the American League with steals last year in 67, and he missed a ton of time with a shoulder injury. And they sent him to the minors. It reminds me of Kristen Pash, the jewel of the Matt Olson trade, which was just crazy. Played 1 year in Oakland. He was exactly what they said he was going to be. Gold Glove caliber center fielder, but he's learning to hit. What they do after 1 year? They cut him. He is now in your neck of the woods.
No, he's not. They cut him too.
Did they really?
They shipped him to Colorado.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Okay, so you learn something new every day. Our graphics part forgot to start the clock, or it restarted. I don't even know. I'll start it again. So yeah, but I'm thrilled with the boycott, and it really sucks. And it, the Oakland Coliseum, that's the backdrop there, the pre-Mount Davis part. For me, growing up with the A's in the 70s, mid 70s specifically, and the Raiders, that Coliseum was some of the happiest moments of my life. That was a childhood. My dad died when I was young, and I was living out there. But the Coliseum was like my salvation. So this hurts. But you know what? They had a meeting today with the A's and the city of Oakland, and the city of Oakland pitched their latest proposal. I don't think anybody thought the A's were going to pony up $97 million over 5 years to play there. And apparently, after the meeting, the A's headed north to Sacramento to talk to those fools, who actually are of the opinion that if they can show themselves to be a good minor league host for 3 years, that may position themselves for an expansion team. I got news for you. No, you're not Nashville. You're Sacramento. No offense, but you're Sacramento. You're not getting a big league club. So if I were the A's, if I was the city of Oakland, I'd tell them to walk. Get out. You're going to lose your $67 million TV contract. Go get what you can in Sacramento or wherever else. We're out of here. The city of Oakland makes $1.5 million a year on rent from the A's. They're not losing a whole lot here by playing hardball with them. They're not. And they got 2 soccer teams coming in next year. They're going to do much better with those, with their cut. So I've said it before in here. It's like the girl coming up and telling you, hey, look, I'm out of here, but not for another 3 years. Okay. I found something better, but he's married. He's got to get 3 years. So I'm going to hang in there, but in 3 years, we're leaving. You hanging out for that? No.
Nope. So here's my thought on the boycott. Looks nice. It's a gigantic waste of time. It's a gigantic waste of time. The only group that won during that boycott was the Teachers for Nevada, who raised
and that's a good thing for them to win.
It is, but that's who won. And all right, John Fisher's an idiot. He's not selling the team. He's not. Let it go. He's not selling the team. Because unless somebody's going to walk in, make a deal with the city of Oakland, who, by the way, put this proposal up as a total political stunt to try to save face. It's a total political stunt. There's like 8 poison pills that the A's would never agree to. They put it in there. They did but it's a total political stunt. But unless somebody's going to roll in there and say, we're going to develop the waterfront. We're going to foot the entire bill. Joe Laycroft, you listening, right? You already bailed on the city once.
He's
come back. That kind of guy, and buy the team and get ready to drop $2 to $4 billion to keep that team there. He's not selling. So you can forget about that. That's not going to happen. I think they're going to end up in Sacramento because Sacramento is going to be the one that's going to pay him the most money. And that's all he gives a crap about. He doesn't care about
who's going to pay him. But who's going to pay it? The city's not going to pay him. Why would they pay him?
Why would Sacramento pay? To get him there? They'll pay.
What are you going to pay him?
For the same reason for the same point that you just said. We host him for 3 years. We show he can run a major league. We can have a major league franchise here that people will show up. And now we're first in line for an expansion team.
Well, I don't know this is fact, but that you might have to ask the Giants about that. They might own that territory. It is.
Well, they very well could.
And the Giants didn't do the A's any favors all these years, so it's not that easy.
Yeah, and clearly the Giants aren't doing anybody up there any favors by acquiescing on their territorial rights, which is their deal's their deal, right?
Their deal.
And
I don't like it, but yeah,
nobody has to like it, but baseball let them have it.
Yep.
So there's that. But here's the part, and I feel bad saying this, but here's the part that always sticks out to me. all this energy and effort to show how much you love the A's could have been spent over the last 6 or 7 years by going to games.
No. It's deeper. This is a whole nother show.
It could, but if you have a, but if you just, I'm just saying, I'm just like, this is the contrarian in me. If you have 35,000 people a game showing up to that crap hole of a stadium, and you're like, hey, wait a minute. Maybe my investment would grow here the way I want it to. Maybe and take this moron John Fisher out of the equation for just a minute. Maybe I make this work. Maybe I bend a little bit. Maybe I invest a little bit. Maybe we keep the team here, and maybe I'm not in such a hurry to get the hell out of here. But the average attendance has been what the average attendance has been since the last time they fielded a competitive team, which feels like 1990.
They were in the playoffs a couple of years ago and set a wild card attendance record in 2019. Couple things. The A's payroll this year.
Oh, it's a joke.
Is $17 million less than it was 17 years ago.
It's a joke.
Has salaries gone down that much in Major League Baseball?
It's a joke.
But here's the problem. All right. And you're right. You're right. The fans haven't gone. But when you have an owner that shits on you every step of the way, trades all your best players for nothing in return.
For nothing.
Does nothing to that Coliseum. That's on more than just him. But hear me out. I can't remember who I heard this make this analogy, and they're 100% right. It might have been Colin Cowherd, but maybe not. Anyway, if I'm a loyal patron to a restaurant, or to speak our terms, a nice bar, and you go there and you go there and you go there, and then all of a sudden they change the menu, raise the prices, and then go into filet mignon, asparagus, and maybe some potatoes au gratin. You got hot dogs and franken beans, but they tripled the prices. You still going to go there?
Depends on the quality of the food.
You still going to go there for the franks and beans, and you're paying more than you were for the filet? No.
It's a good hot dog.
No. You're not.
It's a good
That's the best analogy I heard. Maybe it's just because I like food and beer.
No, but I mean, we could do 7 hours on this for sure. The two of us, you could do 100 hours on this for sure. So let's not get lost in this fact that Dave Cavill's not going to return your call. Let's not forget about that at all.
Coward. Hashtag coward.
But like, to be where they are, and if it wasn't for the fact that the fans were that the A's fans who have organized these boycotts, who have embraced the independent league team that are coming in, if it wasn't for them, nobody would care.
No,
because it's been shoved it's just like, they're moving, whatever, let's make fun of the new stadium, who cares? I mean, who cares? And who cares, the reason that nobody cares is because baseball doesn't want them to care.
No. And let's wrap it up.
And wait till they move. Wait till they open up that friggin' Sydney Opera House in Las Vegas. It's supposed to be a baseball stadium. Watch the fanfare. Watch how many games MLB Network rams on as free for the whatever they're going to be called. Because part of this proposal that the city of Oakland put in front of them was the name and history stayed.
Now, that's not mandatory. That's an or. If you don't like X, Y, and Z, then you go. Okay.
But and I don't blame them.
If baseball,
I don't blame them. And if I was the city of Oakland, I'd be saying the same thing.
If baseball was smart, and they're not, they would just put a new team and rebrand it in Vegas and give the city of Vegas a chance to rally around a group like they did with the Golden Knights.
Yeah, they could be called the Vegas Ohtanis.
Whatever you want to call them. Anyway, here's the last thing. Let's close with this, because I replied to a guy, a Sacramento media guy today. The thing that he says it just smells about this relocation is that the greediest people in the world, baseball owners, are waiving a potential $1 billion relocation fee, which is his words, not mine. And here's what I told him. Here's what I believe. This is a test. Rob Manfred, and this is a test for baseball to say, okay, we're going to make these things, and we're going to pull a team from an area that can't meet the obligation, Oakland. They'll send them to Vegas. Now, once it's done, now you can go to Milwaukee like they did last year for the $400 million for the stadium. You can go to Phoenix. You can go to all these cities. You give us this, or we're leaving, and we're going somewhere else. And this is the case test.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going here because they're going to build us a new ballpark because they got the
we're not paying for it. You are.
We're not paying for it at all.
And that's what this is. That's where
Tampa's next because that deal's falling through. That deal is falling through.
All right. Well, look, now that I'm just
back to La Belle Provence. Let's go Expos.
Now that I'm absolutely aggravated, and maybe the A's will give me a W.
I'll be able to trot this hat out soon enough, right? I'll be able to slap this bad boy on, and the Tampa Bay Expos, the Montreal Rays will be back in place.
All right, next week, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
All right, my man.
Subscribe.
All right, yeah, like button. Go for it.
Yeah, do something. Next week, maybe we'll have a special guest.
Maybe Dave Cabell.
Maybe we'll have the big man from Massachusetts.
I'll have our booking committee, or maybe the big man. All right.
Maybe the big man. Have a rye toast conversation.